Yeah, I am a little short. Hey man, look, don't make fun of me, man.
So I gave him number 4 so y'all could see him stretch into that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Our number one seeds worse than previous years, or is the field catching up in March Madness? Ooh, that is a good one. That's a good one because I think the field is catching up. I don't think that the number one seeds were as bad. I think that there's some good basketball going on across all of NCAA. You know what I mean? Especially with the transfer portal going on, stuff like that. Like cats wanting to go and actually get playing time, play, and you seeing it. Like look at Florida Atlantic. Yeah. Look at San Diego State. You know, we just watched the Miami Texas game. Like crazy. Miami is.
They just hung on. They just fought it out. They down 10, down 12, down 14.
And that hurts because you know I like the Longhorns. Yeah. I like the Cougars, but I mean, it was crazy, man. Like what? No number one seeds.
No number one seeds in the Elite Eight.
First time since what? 79, something like that. 70s.
It's been 50-something years, like 50+ years.
That's wild to think about.
I mean, that's supposed to be the best 4 teams in basketball, and none of them make it to the last Elite Eight. And that's the madness, though.
That's the beauty behind it. Right. Is that people want to see these underdogs and the Cinderella stories of people coming up. But I mean, again, like these teams aren't slouches. So I personally, I don't think that number one seeds were overhyped or sucked or anything like that. I just think that they had an off night maybe, or you know, maybe they just got beat. They just got straight up beat.
Here's my thing, bro. This is the other part of it, I think, too. And I was, you know, they talk about the NBA. They talk about how, I want to say it was the 90s or 80s. So the Suns had like a training staff that was ahead of its time, right? They was doing all these extra things. They were focusing on all these extra things. And they were doing all this stuff to make sure their players were healthy for longer, playing for longer, resting, you know, getting more out of their rest, hydrating, all that stuff, right? And I think there was a time when those 1 seeds, right, in those higher schools were consistently people like Duke and Kentucky and those guys who had huge programs who probably had in their school a lot invested into that program. So they had training staffs and all these things in these gyms and these shooting, like, you know, all the kinds of things that go into, right, to being good at basketball and all the things you need. They had more of it. They have the best of the best. And I think now that the world has become more educated, and I think that now that we have the social media and everybody sees what everybody's doing more often now, that those smaller schools are catching up, you know, and what the norms are, what you know, what they need to be doing to take care of their athletes and how to use them. And then B, you know, I think that the athletes are believing even more so that they can take down these guys. They seeing that these guys are just like them. You know, they're doing the same routine. They're going in the gym, hitting the same time during the day, right? So maybe we really can step on this court and just play one great game of basketball and take down this 1 seed. And I think that belief is shining through, you know, just with all the upsets. You know, it's always been upsets, but 1 seeds and 15 seeds and 16 seeds being once. I mean, that's, you know, that just never happened before.
Nah, you know, it's crazy. I think because you said it best, you know, I think a lot of schools are starting to catch up as far as facility wise. Yeah. So now at least I have the facility of everything and the social media aspect. I no longer necessarily have to go to the brand of the Dukes or the North Carolinas or the UConn, even though UConn's in it, right? Yeah. But they're not number one seed this year. Yeah. You know, or like Houston or some of these places that are number one seeds. Yeah. You can go to Florida Atlantic and build your own brand and get to the league. You know what I mean? So you don't have to go jump on a brand. You can build your brand through social media and being an animal, being a dog,
being out. Steph. Davidson, everybody heard about Davidson when he was there, bro. When this random kid is just carrying through and then like he made it to the league, and now look at him. He's gonna go down as the best shooter of all time.
You know what I mean? John Morant, whenever he was coming out of college, boom. You know, so I mean, it's like they're showing these cats nowadays are showing, especially with NIL deals, right? Too, like you're seeing like, hey, you can come somewhere, build your brand, be the star of the team, like show the NBA scouts like I can ball, you know, and potentially take your team to the Final Four. Yeah. Like imagine if. All right, let me ask you this: who you think out of Final Four go win?
I think UConn. UConn was one of my favorites at the beginning. I didn't pick them to win. I picked them to make the Final Four on my brackets. I wish I had picked them to win it because I love the team. But there was a couple teams I thought maybe would be a little bit better. But out of the teams remaining, I think UConn's my favorite, and I think Florida Atlantic is my second favorite. And so I think they're going to be in the final, in my opinion. And I could be wrong. They played it, whenever they play. But I think they're going to make it to the final, and I think UConn's going to pull it out, but I wouldn't. Again, I think both those teams are capable and have complete teams on both ends of the court that can really just take over a game, man. I mean, UConn hasn't had a game within 15 points yet.
Whew.
I'm just saying, bro. That's team domination.
Miami, though, like we just saw them come down from 13 against Texas. I can't believe the Longhorns let that go, but I mean, they can ball too. So that's gonna be a good matchup. San Diego State versus FAU. That's gonna be good. It's gonna be crazy if FAU actually wins this. It's gonna be that's going to send waves for years to come.
Through all of college basketball.
Through all of college basketball. Like, I'm telling you, it's going to be a sight to see. We're probably going to start seeing, like, number one seeds ain't safe for years to come now. Yeah. So, and I'm all for it. Yeah. I love the drama because it's like you gotta show up today and play back. Like, don't think because they a 16 seed that they not gonna come in and beat you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You dig what I'm saying? So it's crazy.
Man, I just want to see. I'm interested to see if Jordan Miller, right, on Miami, can show up again against.
What, he didn't miss a shot?
Didn't miss a shot. First time that's happened since like 92.
Yeah, and it wasn't like he was just getting layups or something.
No, 7 for 7. 13 for 13 from the free throw line. They win by what, 6, 7? I mean, he shoots average on the game and they lose. Like, if he plays like that again, UConn's gonna have to play great. And now I would love to see that kind of basketball. I would love for him to show up and play just like that and make UConn beat somebody at their peak. Because I mean, not that they haven't, they beat people by 15 plus, but I think Miami has shown, like you said, versus Houston versus Texas, they will grind you out. And regardless of whether they are up by 5, up by 2, up by 10, down by 10, down by 15, they are going to continue to attack every single time. And they just going to trust that at the end of the game, they're going to be in it.
Exactly. And they have, like, again, you talk about the Miller kid, like, he talked about how you felt last year. You got kids that have experience, that have the want, the drive.
They were so close.
They were so close. And now they're here again, so it's like we got to finish the job more or less, So I think that is going to be a really good game. Like, it's gonna be a lit Final Four this year because it's so out the norm. It's so different, right? You're going to really have, fan bases that besides UConn, Miami a little bit, but besides UConn, like, what basketball history really do y'all got? Like San Diego State, sure, like Kawhi, right? Like, I get it, right? Like, but
not like UConn.
But not like UConn, right? Not like a Duke or none of those schools. So that's super tight, man. I'm pumped. What do you think? Since we on college basketball, we could wrap here. Where you think Bronny gonna go?
Sheesh, Bronny, man.
You think he gonna go to Ohio State and ball out?
I do. I think he's his daddy's son. I think he likes that a little bit. So I mean, I could see him for sure. I could see him not too, but I think at this point, from what I've seen, the most likely is Ohio State. I think that Brian would be excited about that.
But what if he goes in and takes that team to the Final Four?
Then he's gonna show that everybody that he's everything he's supposed to be.
Yeah, and that's again, like, especially if you think about it, if you like one of these kids that just like, hey, I need to go to college for 1 year and then go to the NBA, you don't want to go to a team that's stacked because now you're saying the percentage of you having the ball, or is less because you got to share it more, which is fine. You can show that you can work within the system and the team, but you also want to be able to show that I can be that man to be able to get paid that bag and do my thing. So I think it's gonna be interesting, man. I really don't know too much about Ohio State basketball team, but if he decides to go there or even somewhere in California, I don't know. We'll see.
Like you said, it forces competition though.
He can play though. I know a lot of people hate on him because he LeBron's son, but that he jumping out the gym, and again he a kid, man. Like,
it's gonna be interesting to see if he can elevate the players around him the way his dad can. You know, that's gonna be the tell. If he, because that Final Four appearance you're talking about, that if he could pull that off, that will require him to do that. Because he's not, he could be, again, he could evolve his game. You know, I'm not saying he can't, but from what I've seen, he's not I'm going to go out and just will us to a win by putting up 45, 50 points. Sure, maybe he's capable of that like LeBron was, but I
don't think he has to, because LeBron didn't do that when he went to the NBA. Yeah, sure, he was doing it in high school, but LeBron went to the college basketball for a year. He would have easily won probably a championship. I think so. But I still think that he would have played his game like, 20, 10 and 8 or something like that, right? Like, he would have been. And I think if Bronny can show up and say, hey, I'm going to drop 25 and maybe get like 10 assists, right, I think that might be.
Well, that's not, to me, going to get him into the Final Four. That's going to be interesting to me. Because what's going to get him there is playing that way and being that leader.
I think that would get him there.
You think the 25 and 10 will get him there just by itself?
Well, I mean, if you got other, you make sure you got like some pieces around you that can play right. But also Bronny's a good defensive kid, man. So I think he's gonna bring energy out in a lot of ways within the game, especially the game within the game, right? The mental game too, because in a way, like, yeah, you're gonna have people gunning for you because you LeBron's son, but if you show up and you ball, that also puts a little fear into people as well. Like, damn, I'm going against Bronny now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it can either go one or two ways. Yeah. So I think depending on how he matures and grows into it, I think he has all the potential in the world. Yeah. Especially if he continues to grow.
Yeah. So yes, sky's the limit. He's LeBron's son. He got all the potential in the world. I do still think I'm standing by my projection that Bryce is gonna be nastier.
He gonna be the best.
Tell me why the man is bringing the goggles back with some swag. I've never seen somebody look swaggier in the goggles.
I love it.
I've never seen it.
It's crazy. Like, the youngest son, for some reason, the youngest is always. I was the youngest, so always the best. You dig what I'm saying? But thank y'all for tuning in, man. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, and share this thing for your boys. Uncle JB and Biscuit Head Nick.
We out.
We out.
Yeah.